It's really sad that the Johns and the Nightwalkers are really setting the standard for dating culture in America, and the regular people don't actually realize that. Hey, stop listening to Ari Fletcher. She's a Nightwalker. You know why Drake gets a lot of women? He's a John.
He's a John that is obtainable to top Nightwalkers. Because top Nightwalkers aren't susceptible to just any Johns. It's just a higher level of it. It's the same thing. It's just there's just a level to it, and that's okay. Like they're rich, and I get that.
Because the top Nightwalkers, the standard is for you to be a John, right? Like if you're not a John, they're not talking to you.
Yeah, they're not even going to talk to you. Exactly.
And then the top Nightwalkers, you know, probably the Dreas, the of the world, the Bernices, the other ones who I don't know because it's not really my expertise.
I mean, it could even be the rich ones, like that pose as if they're not like a Kardashian, right? Like,
yeah. Oh yeah, and that's the top Nightwalker.
No, right, and they're richer than most Johns that they're going to be able to talk to. Like, I don't think that Travis Barker makes more money than, and she's not even the most popular Kardashian, but I would imagine that they make more money than he does. This is what I'm saying.
Think about that.
You know, Kanye might have been the only one that could say, I made more money than him.
Imagine being a John for a Nightwalker who's more rich than you. All set.
We're gonna take. Even though I've got more money than you, I'm gonna still take all your money.
It's like, damn, you don't love me, do you? You know, I plan to open this by saying Kirk Cousins definitely has sex with his boxers and his socks on. But you didn't watch quarterbacks.
No, I didn't, and it's just I don't know. Just kind of hearing that just makes it funny. And you know what? What you could do is with that, by the way, kind of maybe even set that up for me because I am curious. Is it clearly it goes through the day in life of the quarterback, right? And we can obviously get into a much more in depth conversation about it next week or 2 weeks from now because we really still need to do that. Our hip hop.
I talked to Boink about it yesterday. I said, hey, let's plan to do it next week.
Okay. We didn't get Julian.
I thought about sending a group text, and it was at a time that I didn't feel like sending it. So yeah, we'll talk about it just because guys just need time to listen to music,
right?
Because you got to go back through the archives a little bit so you don't forget certain stuff. And kind of what I'm thinking about for that one is everybody creates a playlist.
Mm-hmm.
And then on like Tuesday or Wednesday, shoot it over, shoot it to me, whether it's a Spotify playlist or an Apple Music playlist. I have both. So then I can like kind of compare the songs and like rack and stack to trim the conversation, right? It's gonna be a full pod conversation, but still
But we're keeping it with Atlanta only.
Yes.
And then another part, maybe we can preface it with the history. Starting with the origin, Dungeon Family, Outkast, how that leads
on Babyface, not like LaFace.
Yeah, LaFace Records, So Def.
Yeah.
Gets to Little John, you know, the birth of crunk music, which is so crazy.
Oh, like to see ass and titties.
It is so crazy how crunk music was so popular, mainstream at the time. Yeah, like Get Low, bro, is like that and are the epitome.
And not to go too deep this week, but I'm so happy we missed the crunk era like in adulthood. Did not want to be in a club for that.
I bet it was a hell of a time though, without phones really. Like, I mean, you had phones, but you didn't really have phones. Like
a lot of fighting,
but I would imagine a lot of
twerking,
going home. Yeah, you know.
I mean, we caught a pretty good era though, because Snapchat became a thing. What? My junior year, maybe my senior year, really?
Yeah, because IG didn't really get popular I guess 2013, 12 was when it got started, but it didn't get really popular really kind of until we graduated. But
yeah, like we still
Facebook was still used heavily.
There were things that we did in the club that got tweeted about, but there was no picture attached to it.
Yes.
We were in a good era of social media. But anyways, we're not talking about that right now. Back to quarterbacks. So a few things I do want to put out there. They had 3 great quarterbacks, right? You got Marcus Mariota. I'm saying great quarterbacks for like a show.
Okay, got you.
Marcus Mariota was him, fell off, just didn't become what they thought he would be in the NFL, right?
Mm-hmm.
But super, like you could tell he's a cool guy. You know what I'm saying? Like head down, work hard. He's put his best foot out there. Kirk Cousins, the overachiever, the constant overachiever. And you go, you know what? We shouldn't expect anything from Kirk Cousins. And then we'd be okay with Kirk Cousins. But he overachieves. Then we create that as a standard, and it goes, no. This dude's overachieving. So dial it down.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, I'm a fan. He's that nigga. He talks shit. He does all the stuff that the media says they don't want their quarterbacks to do, like on TV. You know, you should be above that. You get locked in. He got into it with, I think it was Mason Crosby. Or Max Crosby, excuse me. He got into it with some guy. He's like, I'm here, motherfucker, I'm here now, motherfucker, I'm here. He just going, I'm like, oh, you that nigga. He was like, yeah, dog, like, you know what I'm saying? We wasn't playing well, then they did something across the line, and then I just blacked out. And I just start going off. I don't even know what the fuck I was saying. I go, okay, I like you because you a nigga. Like, you your daddy's boy. And then in the Super Bowl, you know, Dreams and Nightmares, he said that's like his pregame song. Mm-hmm. But he couldn't listen to it because it's Philly.
Yeah.
When he's out on the field, they playing it. You know, he's mic'd up. He's rapping the whole song. Then there's these random patches of mute. Then they pick back the song back up. I go, okay, he says nigga too.
Nigga. Yeah.
Yeah, he says nigga. Like, they didn't just, like, blurt out the word. They blurt out, like, a few sentences going into it. And after, so it just looked like they didn't want to
say basically, I don't know all the lyrics to the song, so I'm going to only say the parts I know.
Yeah, he wasn't LeBron.
That's not the case.
Yeah, so that was cool to see. The Falcons did Marcus Mariota dirty.
I know this is probably even a bigger reason why you wanted me to see it.
Yes.
We know the stories, but what did he do? Did he not do the Falcons wrong too?
I don't blame him for doing what he did.
But we knew the kid thing was out there. We knew that already.
I forgot about it.
I knew. But, I think he wasn't taking time off. I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, but long story short, it makes the Falcons look bad on how they handled benching him and what was communicated to him versus what they were doing, and then it happened with the kid thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would have went and had surgery too and not came back. Especially with a newborn, I would have done that too.
Right.
But
why wasn't he listed on the injury report? Did they get into that at all?
No.
Okay.
He should. But he should have. No, he should have been benched. By the way, he should have been benched.
And that's what I'm saying. Those are the parts of it, I guess, where I'll have to watch to make that.
Yeah, you just need to see it because, you know, the player's not going to admit that he's sucking.
How is it set up? Is it a full-length, like 2-hour documentary on all three? Yeah. Or do they each have their own episode? Or are there multiple episodes, but they're all in each episode?
8 episodes. They're not all in each episode. Episode 5, excuse me, I want to say episode 6 is Marcus' last episode because we're down to playoffs. Then Pat got the Super Bowl, and like Kirk popped up at the NFL honors. Mm-hmm. just because he was there, it would be really nice if
he might have been supporting his boy JJ.
Well, he was supporting Patrick, and there was some like interaction with them two there. That's not his boy.
Well, no, I'm just saying JJ.
They're not cool.
Oh, really? Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, you can kind of see it.
But they did the chain thing, and then obviously, yeah, Justin Jefferson just threw a shot at him like last week, saying his top 5 and then not naming him. And of course, they knew that. And look, I don't blame Justin Jefferson for not he told the truth, which there's nothing wrong with that, right? Telling the truth, there's nothing wrong with that. But it would be good to hear a lie out of somebody that is throwing you the ball, like that you throw the ball to. It'd be nice if they basically complimented you that way.
You want to hear a funny story about that? They're talking about it on the herd, right? And J Mac goes, "Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to tell a white lie right there, Colin. Like, I teach my kids to tell white lies sometimes. You know, if someone asked you the top 5 people you've worked with at Fox or something like that, he was like, if you didn't include me, I'd be upset." He was like, Colin said something about Bob Costas, and then he said some other shit, and you go, "Nick, you're not Colin's top 5." And he's suddenly telling you this, and you just told him your feelings would be hurt if you weren't. But it's like, bro, Jason McIntyre, you fucking suck, but we're not going down that rabbit hole.
Right.
But the Kirk Chains thing, it appeared to be more of a we are making fun of you than we are actually vibing with you.
They balled out that game because they did that after the Bills win, right?
I want to say that was the first time they did it, yeah. No, they balled out, but
and Kirk balled out. I mean, Jefferson made the catch, that crazy catch, but Kirk balled, bro, for them to go on the road and play that type of game against that team, he balled the fuck out that game.
Hey, that team you're talking about is not going to win their division, but that's for later.
Maybe 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, I gotta wait until at least we get 2 weeks of training.
We gotta get into a couple of preseason games.
Yeah,
maybe because I assume we're gonna do our fantasy show draft show again. Did we? That was a show, right? Yeah, it was a show. I know that we all got together. I just don't know if it was a show. But
yeah, we did a show about it, and because I don't want to do my futures until I see who gets hurt in training camp.
Yeah, I mean, same reason why we don't do our fantasy draft until after. We need to. We need to know, but we'll do it the week before that because we always do the fantasy draft literally the Sunday before the Thursday game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Kirk Cousins, last thing on quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins on Tuesdays, I think it's Tuesdays, off day. That's his family day.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't go to the facility. He doesn't do anything football. The whole day is dedicated to his family.
But I think Tuesdays, that's for all of them, isn't it?
But I'm saying he does not watch film. He doesn't go in, get a workout in. He doesn't do anything football.
Okay.
I think that's going to come back to bite him in the story of Kirk Cousins in the media when he has bad games. Do I think him taking that extra day off affects anything? No. Like the nigga will throw for 330 1 week and then he'll throw for 212 and 3 picks. He's average.
I wonder if they did, and just last thing, because I know that we were about to transition to the NFL, well, other NFL-related things, but of course, I'm sure that they brought up the comeback game, the largest comeback in NFL history.
Yeah, they showed that one. Yeah.
Impressive.
I mean, they go through the games, and I'm going to tell you, the Falcons fan, it's going to really suck to watch some of the Marcus stuff because you're going to sit there and remember some of these games that we should have fucking won. You're gonna go like the first game, the fumble, the Jalen Ramsey pick in LA, we
weren't supposed to win that game anyways, but we came back and we really could have won. Yeah,
but after finding out what the Rams were, you go, no, we should have won that game. Then you see the Washington game, you go,
But then you look at good stuff too, right? Like the Seattle game was encouraging.
Yeah, and it goes into
he got put in the yards, but he didn't. Matter of fact, I think he had a perfect completion, or he was 14 to 15.
Yeah, he only had one incompletion, like 12.
Yeah, but he had 3 touchdowns, four total, maybe like 220 total yards, because he threw for like a 130, but then he ran for like 90 or something.
Yeah, it was. You see the good parts, but then you see the other ones. Like we saw the Carolina game where DJ Moore just really fucked his team out of the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure, because we should have lost that game.
Like, nigga, keep your helmet on.
But can you even really blame him? I mean, the kicker missed twice. I mean, so we just took advantage of it, and our kicker has a boot on him, and you can't give a team but so many chances to win a game, All
right. We're 15 minutes in. Let's talk running back. All right, man. So if you all have been under a rock and not been paying attention to football, well, the world is upset with running back. I think the way that this conversation is being let me bring it in way better than that. This fucking sucks. Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, and Tony Pollard all received the franchise tag. Tony Pollard took his franchise tag because he just broke his tibia. Smart man. Take your money. And he's been the flashback, not the premier back. So yeah, go get your money, bro, because you may show that you're not a great premier back. Because he's never really carried the load because he's been a receiver too.
And he's got some super duper unproven RBs behind him. I mean, rookies, but like Deuce Vaughn is his backup, and he's a 6th-round pick that's 5'5". It ain't gonna be like with Zeke last year type thing.
Then you have Josh Jacobs, who was the best player. I mean, I know Devonte Adams, but he was the 2nd best player on the Raiders last year.
And he led the league in rushing.
Say again?
And he led the league in rushing. I mean, that's something, I think.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Forgive me for not doing the best research in the world. He's coming off a rushing title and he can't get a contract.
Yeah, man. He led the NFL in rushing last season. And I think he had 10 plus tubs too. So
I'm pulling up the stats. Do you know how nuts that is?
Yeah, that you're 20. How old is he? 25, 26?
Yeah, bro. He is 25.
Yeah, so right in his
prime.
Ran
for 1653, 12 touchdowns.
And what were the receiving numbers? Because I'm sure he had some of that too.
That's what I'm getting to now. Receiving. Yeah, 400 yards receiving.
That's really nice, honestly. For a starting running back,
that 52 receptions, 400 receiving yards, 7.5 a catch. Hold on. This man gave you 2,000 all-purpose yards, and you can't give him a fucking contract?
How many receiving touchdowns?
None.
Oh, well.
First team All-Pro. Can't get a contract.
By the way, he single-handedly beat the Seahawks in an overtime game. He took it to the house like on the first play. It was like a 98-yard rush. It was crazy.
His quarterback was Derek Carr. And then you have, but you also look at Saquon Barkley, who didn't get a contract, and actually the franchise tag is for niggas like Saquon. Saquon doesn't belong in this conversation with Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard. If you want to throw in Dalvin Cook, not getting signed yet, he's a separate part of this conversation.
Eckler also has not gotten his contract.
What is it? What?
I don't think he was in the final year.
No, so he's still playing the rookie deal, right?
Well, I think that when they cut Melvin Gordon, they paid him a very minimal, like it was like a 3-year 15, but obviously he's underpaid, and I think that this upcoming year would be his last year, so they can franchise tag him. They did pay him. Like, as soon as they got rid of Melvin, because think about it, Melvin Gordon hasn't been on the Chargers for 3 years or so.
He's on a 4-year, $24.5 million contract.
But he signed it like 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, he'll be a free agent. He's a free agent next year.
Yeah. So technically he's a guy that should be getting, with 1 year left, you pay the guy, you extend them now. That's when you're supposed to extend people, right?
They're going to franchise his ass.
Yeah, and then if he outperforms, they'll give him a 3-year deal that is worth top-of-the-line money, but only guaranteed like a year and a half. Like, it'll be something like that. So, not even a year and a half, a year and a quarter.
So let's try to segment this conversation properly. Let's just talk about the running back and the impact of the running back. If you look at like the last 5 or so Super Bowl champions, they didn't have great running back numbers. But I think their feature back didn't have great numbers. But I think you have to be careful in how you look at that, because were they a running back by committee team? Well, if you are a running back by committee team, unless you're the Falcons, your feature back's not going to have like amazing numbers because he's just not going to get the touches. Do you think we're at a place where you just need a serviceable running back to be a good team? Excuse me. Yeah, to be a good team. Because I don't want to talk about winning the Super Bowl, because too often we get talked about what does the championship team need to do. And every team ain't trying to win a championship. Some teams are just trying to get the Vegas over.
That's an excellent question. Like, I broke this down in a conversation yesterday with my brother, and we literally went into it. We broke it down in a sense of who's changing your games. Like, what defenses are having to scheme for guys? Who is the game changer? Those are the guys that should be getting paid. There are too many guys at that position that are replaceable and that you can get similar production out of their backup if they go down. And Dalvin Cook, for instance, he's been a good running back. He had a good year this past year. 1,300, 8 TDs, probably had 400 or 500 yards receiving himself, and maybe another 2 or 3 touchdowns. Good running back. And I think Cook's like 27 or 28 now, though. But whenever he went down, he's a guy that's kind of been hurt himself. Whenever he went down, the backup came in and earned his keep to where that's why he's the star today, Alexander Madison. Every time that guy stepped in the game, I swear to God, and we know this just from fantasy. Whoever, what do they call it in fantasy? Not handicap, whatever you call it. When you draft your top guy that you draft, there's a backup just in case they ever go down, because we don't want a David Johnson Arizona situation, right? Or a Le'Veon Bell Pittsburgh situation where somebody else has your backup and then that backup does exactly what the starter was doing. We looked at this, and there are really only 4 guys in the league that really do deserve to be paid. And we broke it down this way. Derrick Henry, and he's obviously older now too, but just in general, we're going to go based off just the guys today that are really good. It's Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Christian McCaffrey, and in my opinion, I'm going to go Austin Eckler. I know people wanted to hear Jonathan Taylor. I think he's a kind of replaceable too, to be completely honest. The Colts just weren't good. It didn't matter if he was on the field or not. So that's why I don't think he's a game changer. But who's a game changer? That is, to me, what sets the standard for who's getting paid.
So before I dispute what you're saying, because I want to take it off of names for a second, and I want to discuss it based on team.
Okay.
Construct of the team. The theoretical construct of the team. Is your quarterback good? Is your quarterback great? Is your quarterback amazing? Is your quarterback average? Is your quarterback Desmond Ridder? Do you not know? Or does your quarterback suck, right? When you look at like the level of where your quarterback is at, to me that says what you can afford to pay a top end like your running back, if your running back is good. Because there's this idea, like I know that there's positional value and that stuff matters, but you don't pay the position if the player there is not good. I would rather pay a lower valued position if I have a higher end player in that position. Giants. Saquon the talent, not the injuries, because I would give him a very incentive laden deal. Not a lot of guarantees. Sorry, dog. I would rather pay Saquon the player than Daniel Jones the player. Daniel Jones isn't good. He's fast. Apparently, he's one of the top rushing quarterbacks in the league, according to that Craig Corden guy who does early mornings on Fox now. Which he's not. He's not.
I was gonna say, you mean Fox taking their racism seriously over there?
Yeah. But he's honestly, he's not wrong. Like Daniel Jones is fucking fast.
He's not the best running quarterback in the league, and you know that too.
He's not. No, he's not the best, but he is one of the best. He is.
Sure, he's not the best. That's such a bold statement.
Well, it's just them trying to sell fucking a show that nobody watches.
We know who the best quarterback is in the league.
Lamar Jackson is not close.
Yeah.
So I think that if you have a high end quarterback, then you should spend less on running back. But if you're the Raiders, now let me put some names to it. I'm not paying more money for Hunter Renfrow than I am for Josh Jacobs. And I'm not running the risk of not paying, even if I pay Hunter Renfrow more money because that's the receiver market or whatever, I'm not going to piss off Josh Jacobs in order to make Hunter Renfrow happy. And you can say that they negotiate their contracts at different times and all of that stuff, but every time you pay one person, you're possibly taking money out of another person's mouth because the NFL has a hard cap. So you have to be mindful of that when you're making these contracts in advance. And I mean, Josh McDaniels, does he really know what he's doing? I doubt it. He signed Jimmy Garoppolo, who couldn't pass his physical. So I look at it like that. Like, do the Chiefs need to pay for a running back? No. Could the Patriots afford to pay for a running back? Did it make sense that the Falcons drafted a running back in the first round and he has the highest annual salary this year? But that's Ricky language shit. That makes sense. It makes sense. We have Desmond Ridder playing quarterback. Not Aaron Rodgers. Not Patrick Mahomes. Not Josh Allen. But Josh Allen doesn't have a running back. And they can't run the ball when they need to.
So, except for when he takes off.
I said when they need to. In the playoffs, they can't run the ball.
Yeah.
So, but I like the way you and Justice set that up. I think that's really nice.
It is. I think that there are just certain guys that do you change the game? Is the defense literally scheming for you? Yes or no? Or when we're playing this game, if our guy goes down, are we really confident that we can win with the backup? That to me just shows how much you actually matter. And you know, I look at it this way for a team like San Francisco, right? James is in Vegas.
McCaffrey, by the way.
Huh?
You're wrong on McCaffrey in San Francisco, by the way.
Yeah, and look, he's a guy that's been kind of injured too, and he's already paid, right? Like he kind of already got his contract, but he also has shown his value to the team. And look, he leaves the Carolina last year. Deontay Foreman and Chuba Hubbard did a good job. They did do a good job without him, to where it was like, well, clearly he was replaceable, right? It's kind of how you can look at it. But it's like, no, they were running the ball well, and they had no good quarterback play, and they kind of almost had to run the ball well.
Scheme matters too. And
not to mention, and Wilkes was also the coach. The coaching, it was a coaching change when that trade, before that trade had even happened, or after the trade happened. I'm sorry, or they came like kind of simultaneously. Like McCaffrey was kind of gone, like literally as soon as Steve Wilkes took over the job. So like it changes a lot of things. But then you look at it this way too. A team like San Francisco, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch already knew that no matter what quarterback they had rolling into the future with Christian McCaffrey, they were going to be on a low deal anyways. Whether that's Trey Lance or Brock Purdy, who obviously
they'll never pay top dollar for a quarterback.
And they weren't going to pay Garoppolo because Garoppolo was not supposed to have been there last year. So they already had it set in their mind that, well, we're not even going to have to pay the quarterback, so we might as well spend it on the running back. You know, when's the last time the 49ers had a 1,000-yard rusher?
Garrison Hurst? No, Frank
Gore. But think about how long ago that was. 2014. They did a draft, or not? They did a when's the last time was the game on Rich Eisen's show, and they are the longest drought.
We continue to shout out people who make more money than us.
They are the longest drought 1,000-yard rushing team or 1,000-yard rusher on a team in NFL since 2014. Frank Gore was the last person to have 1,000-yard rusher, and they've been to 3 NFC championships in that span.
Let's think about this. Schemes. Let's think about because what analytics have done to football and says, hey, a pass play is a higher percentage play. Mm-hmm. And in a vacuum, it is. Do I think every time to start the game on 1st and 10 you should run the ball? No, because that's the expectation. But that's what we do. There is a physical aspect of football that you cannot put on the paper. Besides playing the Bills, how often do the Patriots get blown out?
Never.
How bad has their team been since Tom Brady left? Like their roster. Offensively.
The roster was bad with Tom. In reality. The roster was not great with Tom.
So you look at the Patriots have been competitive every season since Tom has left, and they made the playoffs Mac's rookie year.
And could have made it last year.
Yeah. They play physical football. They run the ball. They play defense. They play special teams. This idea that you can only win in the NFL with offense, I honestly don't believe it's true. It's the easiest way to win. It's the easiest way to find coaches who can do it, because if you have a coach who can score points, you don't have to have a coach who can tie his offense to his defense to his special teams. And I don't think the Chiefs get enough credit for the way that they play 3 phases of football, because they tie their defense very well to their offense. Butker can punt his ass off, and Kadarius Toney was a returner for a reason. Good return guy. Their defense is not there to stop you from scoring points because their offense scores points. Their defense is to get a timely sack or a timely turnover to where they can go up another touchdown, or take advantage of the middle late where you defer to the second half, you get a quick score going into halftime, you get the ball back, you score again. Oh shit, we were just down 7, now we're down 21. Game over. You know what I mean? They tie their game plan together, and I think that the running game can exist if we didn't have so many coaches just trying to throw the ball around the yard with players who can't do it. Like, the pass is the smarter play most of the time. But you got to look at the players. And this is where analytics is fucking us out of in football. The analytics say you don't pay a running back. No, you don't overpay a washed running back. But again, you pay Christian Kirk more money than Josh Jacobs is getting. You're gonna give on that roster. Austin Eckler gets the most touches and scores the most touchdowns and gets the most yards. But he can't get the second most money behind the quarterback who's about to sign a deal eventually. Like, that doesn't make sense.
It's a passing league.
Don't use me as a receiver. Allow me to put up number 3, number 4 receiver numbers while I put up number 1 running back numbers and say, hey, we're going to pay you like a running back. Let's look at total touches. Let's look at total impact. Derrick Henry, pay him. If you're the Colts, I would pay Jonathan Taylor if I'm the Colts. If I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'm not paying a running back or a quarterback shit. My scheme is better than you players are. I need average. All Kyle Shanahan needs is average. Jimmy Garoppolo, average. Brock Purdy, average. Every running back who's played for Kyle Shanahan outside of Christian McCaffrey, fucking average.
McCaffrey didn't play for Shanahan.
Kyle Shanahan,
yes.
Everybody but him is fucking. I'm not talking about Mike Shanahan. I'm talking about Kyle.
Yeah.
And Kyle is running the second best offense in the league.
Doing it with guys like Jeff Wilson Jr., Raheem Mostert.
A washed
Mike Davis.
A washed Tevin Smith,
Tevin
right?
Coleman.
Tevin Coleman. Yeah, like, come on, bro. Like, if he has competence on the field, and I've came on this podcast and shitted on Kyle Shanahan and called for his job. If he has competence on the field, his offense works. And I think when you are a good play schemer and designer and caller, you can make up for players. Again,
lack of talent.
Lack of talent, or you can bring the most out of great talent like he has with Christian McCaffrey. Would I just say, hey, I'm going to pay a running back top of the line? Would I give it out that Zeke contract? No.
I think that's an interesting point that you bring up. It's just specifically to get on Kyle Shanahan, because obviously that was why the Falcons were such a perfect pick for him. You can go ahead and cue the music when you're ready. But
we are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
And I think that's what he did best. He went to a team that actually had studs at positions, or very good players to great players at these positions, and then they both looked like superstars in the 2 years that he was here. Matt wins an MVP, and Julio that first year has the second most receiving yards in NFL history in a season. So,
and Devontae Freeman got paid.
Oh, well, okay, yeah. Free got paid. Oh, and so did Tevin Coleman once he left. He got paid decently with the Jets. They paid him a decent amount of money when he left originally, because they didn't keep him both, but he was able to utilize a RB2 to get 10 touchdowns in a season and probably 1,000 all purpose. You know what I mean? All the way around. You know, I had to switch out once we cued the music. But scheme matters when it comes to the running back conversation, and being a game changer, it matters. I think anyone else shouldn't expect anything, but the NFL can combat this too. There is a way, if they want to, they can combat it, because obviously, yeah, you will have a year where a Bijan Robinson gets taken first, and they're going to make $24 million in those first 4 years, plus franchise tag. If they get franchise tag, they'll get another 12, so 36 over 5. There's a better way of handling this, and I think that what it can be is if we want to just juice the position even more so that these guys can make the money, they should probably do it to where either one, they automatically, their contracts are fully guaranteed. And I know that sounds weird to say for that position, because that's what the quarterback fights for, right? They want the quarterbacks to do it. But I'm just saying, this is a way that you can at least combat this. There's got to be something that they put in. Or, because at first I was going to say, well, maybe their rookie scale deals, there needs to be an exception on their deals to where they don't have to do like a 4-year, 5-year deal.
I have a question for you.
What?
Why do they deserve it if the tight ends don't get it? And the tight ends are, your top tight ends are splitting out as receivers more than they are on the line, but they don't get paid like receivers. The fight that your boy from Jimmy Graham fought for, the fight that Travis Kelce isn't fighting because he's happy and he's getting a lot of off the field money and he plays with Patrick Mahomes. The fight that Kyle Pitts should probably fight for. What about those guys?
Well, the issue with them
or even the linebackers, the safeties. Like there are a lot of positions because of this positional value and the analytics and the way that it's really driving decision making. What about those other positions? Why does the running back get the most attention?
I'll specifically address the tight end first. There aren't very many great versatile tight ends in the league. And when I say that, I mean George Kittle might be the best blocking tight end in the NFL.
George Kittle is the most versatile tight end in the league.
Yeah, because he can catch and he's a hell of a blocker.
Yep.
I'm not saying Kyle Pitts is a bad blocker, but not
running behind him.
Right. George Kittle, you can literally have a sweep and you want Kittle to pick up Von Miller. Like, that's who you want. I mean, you love Trent Williams to swing around and get him too, but at the same time, you can scheme to where, nope, that's going to be your guy. Von's your guy, George. And it works, right? There aren't that many great blocking tight ends in the league. And that used to be kind of what it was, where the tight ends they were more off 6 offensive linemen and then an occasional pass catcher, as opposed to now they have turned into kind of wide receivers. But
back to the Shanahan system, Shannon Sharp. He was told you don't get paid to block, you get paid to catch touchdowns.
Well, and I look at it this way too, even with Shanahan. I hate to continue to go back to the Falcons, but I look at Austin Hooper and how he benefited greatly from Kyle Shanahan. Even though he only had him that rookie year, we kept the offense with Sark too. He benefited greatly. We'll get to college a little later, but specifically, I guess the SEC. But nonetheless, I think that with those guys, there's just not a lot of versatility. With the running backs, there are. These are guys, like I said, Josh Jacobs didn't even know. You didn't realize that he was first-team All-Pro and led the league in rushing. But I didn't know that he had 400 yards receiving. 400 yards receiving. Those are wide receiver 4, and depending on how bad the team is, maybe even wide receiver 3 number, because the tight end is, like you said, tight end's a wide receiver. And theirs, in that case, Darren Waller. Granted, was hurt last year, but I'm sure that him and
we don't say his name on this broadcast.
You mean Mr. Plum?
Watch your mouth.
It is what it is. Maybe she'll join the Liberty next. I don't know. Maybe they'll make a super team out there like they got one in Vegas. But nonetheless, I think that it's different with those positions. With middle linebackers, we don't see guys that are Ray Lewis types. Like, think about it. Ray Lewis has had seasons where he's had double-digit sacks coming up the middle.
It can't be. It can't.
But I'm just saying, but they don't do it. I'm just saying there's not the versatility of them being great, down the middle fucking sack artists. Like, those guys don't really exist anymore. It is strictly edge. If you're a Aaron Donald, you're getting it in the middle still. But, there's just not very many guys like that. Safeties, I mean, traditionally, we look at strong safety, right? Or even free safety. Those top guys aren't great cover guys. That's not what we think of when we think of them. I don't think of that when I think of Ed Reed or Troy Polamalu. I look at how they always had deep third covered, but I'm looking at how these guys were thumping niggas. You know what I mean? How they were really somewhat middle linebackers in the secondary.
What about Jamal Adams, who's an extra D end?
You mean the guy who just probably ruined it for the market?
Yeah.
He's the guy that ruined it. Guys like that ruined it. And same with the running back position. Le'Veon Bell, low-key ruined it in 2 different ways.
I think Zeke.
One, James Conner stepped in and fucking did his job, getting way less money. So it showed that, hey, these backup guys can literally do your job in a season. And then 2, when he sat out and did get paid, he didn't do shit as soon as he got paid. So And that was without a year of wear and tear, which you saw he commented on it, right?
Yeah, he did. He said he regrets his decision.
To it. And him being flicked.
But I'm happy. I'm happy he was able to own up to a mistake that he made. And he was able to put it out there. And I think he's thinking about these other running backs, and he's trying to look out for them, you know. I will say if I'm blessed to have a son, dog, you're not playing running back after recreation, man. Probably not playing running back in recreation. You're probably going to play quarterback and just not
quarterback or wide receiver.
Corner
too. But I'm saying if you're on offense,
yeah,
you're not going to be a running back. You're either going to be a wide receiver because I mean I look at both of our frames. My expectation will be a longer kid.
Yep.
Maybe not super tall. I mean, my dad is pretty tall. Like my dad's 6'5", right? I don't expect my kids to ever be 6'5". But if I had a son, I'm thinking, okay, you could be a wide receiver, or a corner. You can certainly. Those are two positions I know for a fact because that's what I played too.
And you can play both of them. You can play both of them for most of your life and figure out which one you're better at and be Trayvon Diggs.
Yep.
Right?
Well, and hell, the coaches will tell you which one you're better at too because if you're getting cooked, they're gonna be like, okay, or if you can't catch, they're gonna be like, hey man, you need to start working on your backpedaling.
So as we kind of wrap this running back conversation, I really enjoyed seeing the running backs coming together and championing for their brethren in their position. That was really nice. The league has just moved past the premier running back, but I also think at some point it's going to cycle back because if these teams keep getting better at stopping the pass and getting these smaller linemen, these smaller linebackers who can cover, run the ball. Nobody wants to tackle LeGarrette Blount. Nobody wants to tackle playoff Lenny. Nobody wants to tackle Nick Chubb out here repping 600 pounds 3 times at Cedartown High School. Shout out to him for going back to his high school and lifting and giving those guys that show. You know what I mean? And being back home in a random town in bumblefuck Georgia.
Shout out to Nick Chubb for being, in my opinion, the most underrated running back. Like
how crazy! Let's talk about that for a hot second.
It's the praise that he deserves and how consistent and how good he is. He's never outside of his rookie season. He's had 1,000 yards every year, and he's had 1,200 yards every year too. That he hasn't missed a game, and even the year he did miss games, he had 1,000 yards, and he's never had below 8 rushing touchdowns. He's the model of consistency. That's a running back. Like I said, that is a guy I pay. I pay him. He gets paid.
And again, situation matters. And I think that in the conversation, now I'm going to go to the media point of view. You got to contextualize the conversation. Every running back who wants to get paid is not in a bubble. He's not in a vacuum. And there are better running backs who will make less money because of the team and the scheme that they're playing in. Whereas there are running backs who you think shouldn't get what a certain dollar, they're going to get paid. And if you have an owner like Jerry Jones who likes to keep his own and honestly did Zeke a solid, like, hey, you know what? You did great stuff.
You got paid.
I'm going to pay you
a $90 million contract.
Yeah, I'm going to pay you for what you did, not what you're going to do. And if a team chooses to do that, I'm not saying that's the best winning thing to do, but it's not the worst thing to do.
Jerry has shown, though, specifically, too, if we talk about ownership, even in this conversation, Jerry has also been somebody that takes care of his players.
Yep. Hey, so
Arthur Blank's another example of that. Arthur Blank takes care of his players.
Yeah,
there are certain groups that you don't ever hear about these stand downs, like these, you know what I mean? These
Julio did his little fit and he got paid.
Julio got a whole 2 years, 3 years ripped up on a contract for a whole new one to reset the market by $4 million a year.
And did nothing with it.
Look, for what it's worth, for what he's done, rightfully deserved it. But, like, he was on the wrong side of 30 when they did it. And he had one more good year, and then 2 more years where he played half the season, and now he's out of the league. And he's only 33.
But he's rich. Hey, you want to do a quick Nuke Hopkins conversation? We got 10 minutes before we break the hour. I would like to finish that one and then get into our other conversations. All right, DeAndre Hopkins signs a 2-year, like $32 million contract with the Titans. The figures haven't came out because it's the NFL and you don't actually get the figures because the contracts aren't fully guaranteed. It's not the NBA. It's an incentive-laden contract. Parlay Pete's going to actually look up the details that have been put out. And shout out to him for signing to the Titans. Good franchise. He has some familiarity with some people in that building there from the time with the Texans. But I really want to focus on a conversation I listened to this week where a podcaster was talking about the Bills were in play, the Chiefs were in play, but the money wasn't there. And he chose the money over teams that were closer to winning the Super Bowl. And they looked at his career earnings and said, hey, he's made this much money. He made money in Texas. He made money in Arizona. Those are great state tax states to make money in. And now he's going to Tennessee, another great state tax state as opposed to going to New York or Kansas City, where he could possibly win a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And they said he should make a decision to win a Super Bowl. And I have a huge issue with that side of it. Because if management comes down to someone at ESPN, at Fox, or at an independent podcast network, or at DraftKings network, you just name the network and says, hey, we're only allotting this much money for our talent. We really want to bring this guy in that's going to help the network out. Will you take less to bring this guy in? Most people will say no. Mm-hmm. You're a business owner. Imagine you have an opportunity to make more money for the business.
Okay.
But then somebody who's in your industry says, hey, dog, don't take this contract. Let me get this contract because overall it will support our industry if I can get this contract because it's getting more guys in, it's creating more competition, and we can make more money. We could possibly make more money in the long term by having more competitors in here, and we can drive prices up. And you go, I got to pay for daycare, dog. Fuck you. You know what I'm saying?
If it was a network that was colluded to where we were the only ones, sure, I'd maybe give it a thought. But because that's not the case, I would say exactly what you're saying, which is only right and would only make sense. Details of that Hopkins contract, by the way. So
give me what you got for a poke chop.
It's a 2-year, $26 million contract that can pay him up to 32 over those 2 years. So we're looking at 13 to 16 million per. What makes it incentive laden to where he can reach that 32 million, aka the 3 million per each year? Essentially, he has to get to 95 catches, 1,050 yards, and 10 touchdowns in each season in order for him to get the 3 million in each season. But it breaks down. It breaks down this way: 65 catches, 250K extra, and for every 10 receptions, you add another 250K, up until 95, where it caps out at $1 million. Receiving yards, same thing. It's 750 for 250K, and then every 100 yards from there is another 250. And then with touchdowns, it's every 2 more touchdowns. So 4 touchdowns is 250K. And then, for every 2 more touchdowns, it's an additional 250K with 10 capping out at $1 million. So I don't, for whatever reason, see the guaranteed money unless this is a fully guaranteed contract. But it's not saying that it is, but it's also not giving a figure that says that it isn't. And if I'm not mistaken, Odell Beckham's deal, he got 15 a year, right? He signed
I think he can make up to 18.
Yeah. Which is, I'm to be honest with you, a little wild actually. That
OBJ is 15. OBJ is 15, but his total guarantee is 13.8.
Is it a 3-year deal or a 2-year deal?
1 year.
Oh, okay. Well,
it may be.
So yeah, his contract's practically fully guaranteed. Practically.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like only $1 million and some change is what he's not guaranteed, and he might get that in practice, workout. I don't know how the contract's set up, but like he might get that, for practices or training camp. Like, I don't know.
So for the next 4 minutes, let's talk about money versus winning. Would you choose money or winning as a non-quarterback?
Money.
Why?
Would
you play to win the game?
That is a game I want to win. I want to win the game of security for my family and my generations to come. That is the game. That is really the game.
Here's the thing. Our high end.
It doesn't mean look, I have to be good in order to make more money. So if I have to be good, that means I want my team to be. The better my team is, the better I'll be, right? That's kind of typically how it works. But if my team sucks and I know that I'm good, I can make my money at least and get paid somewhere else eventually that I can win on. I guess you can prioritize it in so many different ways, but ultimately they go hand in hand a little bit.
Here's the thing, right? Once it becomes a profession, it's not just about passion. It's not just about the basis on which this sport, this job, this trade was built on. It is about financial security. It is about money. We work to make money. We start businesses to make money. We choose our careers. We bust our ass. We study. We train. Whatever the case may be for what it is that we're doing, we do it for money. I know a lot of veterans. And people talk about, hey, thank you for your service, blah, blah, blah. Hey, dog, most of these people ain't volunteering without the paycheck and the benefits. And there's nothing wrong with that.
They don't love this country enough.
No. And pro athletes, do I want to win? Yes. Do I want to be in the best situation to succeed? Yes. But how many of you are at a job right now that you fucking hate, but you love the money? Or you love the benefits? Or you love the perks? You love the city? There is something bigger than what's best for the company that keeps you there, that has you there.
Great point. How many people, because I'll use it on more of a non-million scale like NFL players, how many people are making, let's say $100,000, that's what you make, but you're willing to make 60 to work somewhere else? And what is the cause of that? Your hours are the same, everything's the same. So that your commute, that all remains the same. So nothing changes. And matter of fact, let's say it's the same city too. I know that wouldn't be the same with the NFL, but like, let's say it's the same city. That way you don't have to move from across country in order to do it, or like where you're living, right? Because California is totally different from Georgia, New York, all that, Montana. It's all different. How many people are really going to take that $40,000 pay cut because they love the culture so much and they love being around who it is, and they just didn't want to go to get that extra $40K? It wasn't about the $40K. Hey, dog. It was about, I want to be a part of the most successful. I want to be able to tell people I work for them.
Hey, imagine being a warehouse manager for a mid-tier company, making $100K. Amazon gives you the offer, 65. No real perk. Your stock options up to 70. No real stock options that are going to take you out of there annually.
Right.
But Amazon's the best logistics company in the fucking world.
And it'll look good on your resume. Of course, in case you want to go shop around anywhere else that's not as top tier as Amazon, but can go, maybe number 2, but they'll pay you $120.
How many of y'all are actually going to go to Amazon and take almost $40,000 pay cut for let's just say for a 3-year deal? So you're going to lose you're going to lose your salary that you were just getting over 3 years. You lost a whole year of work over 3 just because you're at the best company. You're not going to. So for you media members who tell people to take less, you shut the fuck up and you take less. Okay. I get that you may come from a place where your life was comfortable and money's not everything. And I love for people who have money to say money's not everything. All right, go work for free. Do what you're doing. Start a podcast. Don't take any ads. Don't take any YouTube. Don't even put it on YouTube because you don't want YouTube revenue. Just do the fucking podcast for the passion. Okay. Write the articles, write the blogs for passion. No, you're not gonna do that. So don't tell somebody, especially somebody who came from absolutely nothing, who is afraid of going back there and don't want their kids, their grandkids, their great-grandkids to have to go through that, to say, hey, go get a fucking nice ring. No, go get a fucking nice check. Because everything that you don't get from not having that ring, that chase that you always going for, dog, you can find a new hobby. But you know what you can't do? You cannot replace the money that you lost. You can make more money, but you can't replace what you lost. Saquon Barkley, you're not gonna fucking sit out because that $10 million that you are turning away, you can't get that back. Le'Veon Bell set out that 8, 9, whatever the fucking running back market was then for the franchise tag. He didn't get that money back. You can't get that money back. So stop telling people to leave money on the table to go fucking win a meaningless game. Super Bowl rings, it might get you some endorsement deals. It might get you some free meals in a certain city. You know what I mean? They don't pay your mortgage. They don't put your kids through college. Money does.
More importantly, that's why the owners are doing it too. That's why they're playing.
Dog, the owners ain't taking a pay cut. They're not gonna easily voluntarily open up to taking less revenue, a lower revenue percentage. The owners ain't giving the players lifetime health care. Yeah, the healthcare companies say there's too much of a risk, it's going to cost too much. The owners could give money back to pay for players' health care for the rest of their lives, and they're not going to fucking do it because they want their goddamn money and fuck a ring.
More importantly, Arthur Blank's not going to sell season tickets for $40 a seat so that he can make sure that it's packed full of people from Atlanta, just so he can lose money and because he thinks it'll give us a competitive advantage to win more games. That ain't how that works. He's not going to do that. And if it's about winning, right? Doesn't he want it packed full of nothing but red and black? And if everybody could afford it, because clearly that's a big sticking point for a lot of people, can't afford it. Those tickets aren't fucking cheap. The cheaper it is, the more that you can allow the people that are sitting out there that are tailgating that don't just want to necessarily tailgate to come into the game.
Because I tell you what, the tailgate environment in Atlanta is way better than the game environment. Because you look at what the Warriors did. They left Oakland and went to San Francisco. Why? The money's in San Francisco. They want the rich guys in Silicon Valley who stay in the nice condos downtown San Fran to be able to Uber to a game, walk to a game, instead of having to drive to Oakland. The fans were better in Oakland.
They're feeling uncomfortable walking around in Oakland. I don't know if you've ever been over there by Alameda.
No, I ain't going.
I'm not gonna lie, that area. I mean, the stadiums themselves obviously are rough. That's why the Raiders are going and the A's are about to follow. And obviously the Warriors did leave. That area is rough, baby. Those stadiums were rough. They were old, but like that shit was rough looking around there.
Why do you think they're gentrifying the West End right now? They don't want people to be afraid to come to the Mercedes-Benz. Yeah, they knocked the church down. Yeah, y'all mad. Bruh, the Chevy don't exist no more. It's a really nice Circle K. They got some nice apartments in the West End now. That shit is getting safer and safer by the day.
Hey, it's a brand new YMCA. Right
Come
there
on, bro.
Little Baby's got a fish restaurant opening up.
It's about the money. So if you are about the money, don't tell me to take less. No, you take less. Parlay Pete, if I came to you and say, hey, dog, you my mans. You got this, you run, you got these deals with these warehouses, man. You know what I'm saying? You're doing your thing. You got an opening. I saw it. I love to come work for you, run one of your warehouses. Here's my rate. Here's what I'm getting offered on the market. And you go, hey, here's what I can do. I can pay you 10% less. No perks. You're my guy. I'm gonna say, so that 10% less you're gonna make. You're paying me, right? This is a very invasive question that you wouldn't have to answer. Is that 10% going towards the company, or is it going to your goddamn pockets? Because if it's going to your goddamn pockets, and you think I am qualified and capable to help expand what you're doing, you're the owner, dog. You're the one taking the risk. Right. You don't want to take the risk on me? Fuck you. It's not personal to you, right? But like, if you are the person who is providing a service to make somebody else more money, because you wouldn't hire me if you didn't think I could make you more money.
Right.
So if I know that, I'm not saying, hey, dog, I need 10% stake in the company. I'm just saying, hey, dog, I want my market value. Especially if my market, you short me on pay, it's just going to line your fucking pockets. Oh man, kiss my ass. And I don't know, dog. This just gets me hot. I don't like somebody telling somebody else to take less money, especially knowing where athletes come from.
Well, especially that, but then especially in a world where things are getting more expensive, and we are trying to act like they're not. And like you said, you made a joke off air before we got on about how AI is about to, and I know we're going to get to that later. I think hour 3, but like, this is real. Stuff's already more expensive. It is. It's way more expensive. And, I can't leave money on the table.
No. We're going to close out this hour like now after this. I was at a virtual career fair today. I was talking to one company. I say, hey, man, here's what I'm looking to do. Here's the place I'm looking to live. He goes, well, all we got is opportunities in PA and West Virginia. All right. I'm barely interested. What do you have in PA? Go to our website. He sends a link to the website. Hey, here's the website. Go check out the openings we have. I immediately go Philadelphia. I don't care about. No, I'm not looking for a suburb of Philadelphia to work. I am looking for Philadelphia proper. I'm going to go up there. I'm working in Philly.
Right. Not Allentown, PA.
No Philly. No response. Bro, I didn't respond. I have nothing else to say to you. You have nothing that I want. Then you start looking at, I go to the website, I look at pay. 60. Yo, dog. No.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, you got to hit him with the Dave Chappelle. He's like, when he was out there washing the car, he's like, $2. He's like, what am I gonna do with this? He's like, nigga, I got kids.
Dog, and it's something we talked about off air when I was talking to you about that one job I was looking at. It would be something that I'll be open to applying to, but it would change where I lived because of the commute. And the wife is like, no, we're living here. And I go, nah, the money got to make sense. And then she starts talking about family and all this. I go, I'm not going to be broke to live by my family.
Had you thought about middle of the road? I guess I should ask that off air, but in between those two areas is Atlanta, of course. So,
She
I mean, Atlanta's a little bit closer to you. It's a little bit closer down there, but still kind of.
I'd consider Douglasville.
Okay.
Because it's further north. It's not terribly far from where we'd like to be. And it still puts me like a 30-minute commute. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I always had thought about on my end, once I leave here, that which actually there's something else we got to talk about. We'll talk about that off here. But within the Atlanta realm of it, Decatur is perfect for me because it's a 15-minute drive from Atlanta, but it's a 15-minute drive from Stone Mountain as well. So it's kind of like a perfect middle ground area.
Yeah, man. So I think we'll close here on middle ground because our next topics are going to be extreme.